Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of Más que un podcast. We've got a special episode for you here today. Not only are we celebrating the big win for Barcelona over PSG, but we've got a guest in the house. We've got MARKARONI here joining us. Pablo is unavailable, so while we will be missing him greatly, Marca is here. He's going to join in on the conversation as we talk all things Barcelona PSG. We'll talk about leg one. We'll take a look ahead to leg two. We're also going to get some predictions for the other side of the table. We'll talk all things Barcelona here on today's podcast. So again, if you're just finding us for the first time, like, subscribe, share, do all the things that support the channel. But most importantly, folks, leave your comments down below. We want to get your reaction to our thoughts, our opinions, but we want to hear your thoughts and opinions. We want to get your questions. We love to engage in that conversation. So please do comment down below as we get into today's episode. But first, I want to check in with the boys. Marca, we're going to start with you. How are you feeling today, Marca? And let people know, where can they find you?
Oh, thank you so much for the intro, first of all. Very excited to be here. Very excited to catch up with you boys. And my name is MARKARONI, by the way. Hello, audience on this channel. You can find me on YouTube with the name MARKARONI, MARKARONI. And I've been an old friend with John. We have done quite a few podcasts together. But yeah, we just were talking behind the camera of how it has been years like we have talked about Barcelona. So I'm very happy that the previous time we were talking about Barcelona, it wasn't pleasant days going on around the club. But right now, it's comparatively very positive. So it's going to be fun today.
Yeah, absolutely, Marca. It's good to reconnect with you. Buga, how are we feeling today, sir?
It's good to be back, brother. It's good to have Barcelona not being shit again. But it's no. I just want to be honest. Like, for me, I've always said in this podcast, like, Barcelona needed a big win. They needed a win to just make us feel that we can compete back into the same level. Like, for me, this stage last season when we lost against Manchester United, it was like, this is a game that we needed to win. Not only to win in the Champions League at home, but win away, for me, is one of the most important things. So I'm going to take it. I'm really happy. Let's say whatever happens on Tuesday, whatever happens. But at least with a win like this, I know that we are on the right track. Our performance in Europe certainly has been better than what it was last season, and so on and so forth. So I can feel confident about that, Tranquilo.
Yeah. Absolutely. Tranquilo. Calma, cules. Calma. Yeah, it's we were talking, Marca, it's been 2, maybe 3 years since I had you on the channel. Times have definitely changed for Barcelona. Before we get into PSG, just how have you been feeling about things like since Xavi's announcement, let's say, these last couple of months since February, where really the tides have changed a bit? How have you been feeling about the club overall?
I'd say that announcement kind of had a different type of reception in the players than what I expected. And it has certainly been a very positive one. And I'm very thankful about it. Like, one thing is for sure, that when Xavi announced that he's going to leave Barcelona at the end of the season, I, as somebody who has been very, very pro Xavi from a very long time, I was kind of hurt because I thought I always used to blame the players, the way players were working out on the pitch. I felt that they could do so much more. Like, if you take into comparison for how Robert Lewandowski, for example, has been the biggest improvement ever since Xavi's announcement. He was one of the players, and then our defense, which was not so much in form in comparison to the previous years. So I felt that the players could do so much more, and they were holding themselves back. But then Xavi also was at fault at a lot of places, like his substitution and all those things were in question. But ever since the announcement, I feel like the team overall has improved so much more. Everybody has started taking responsibility for everything on the pitch. And everybody that was coming into criticism before Xavi's announcement, like, they have taken things on themselves, whether it be Koundé, whether it be Araujo, whether it be Robert Lewandowski, whether it be our midfielders. Gundogan, for example, who was sort of said to be his interviews were taken in a very negative light. I'm actually thankful that Xavi has come out and sort of told everybody that you don't really have to listen to how media talks about the team, and the team is a unit behind the camera. So I genuinely feel very good after Xavi's announcement. It is still a very sad thing that he's going to leave Barcelona at the end of the season as things stand. But at the end, I feel it is just the right decision from his point of view, because no matter what happens, the next club, which is going to be affected by a lot of different things, like how the budget goes on, how the FFP works for Barcelona, which players stay, which players leave, which players are signed. There are going to be so many things that are going to dictate Barcelona's future from now on. But I feel like it's understandable for me that why Xavi wants to leave, because the pressure that has been put onto him, no matter what the reason be, if things go south after next season, people are just going to blame Xavi. So I'm enjoying the days we have under this manager. We owe a lot to this manager, man, definitely. So yeah, very positive few match days, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It's such mixed emotions. I think you said it well there. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised that Xavi hasn't cracked at all in terms of giving any hint of reconsidering that decision. Buga, does that surprise you at all that Xavi has been so consistent, so stern in saying absolutely not a chance. There's no way, not even if, not even when.
Is that I understand him, because if you actually put that possibility in the table, you bring all the pressure back, because it's like you bring all the discussion of whether he stays, whether he goes. That's a thing that Xavi is trying to avoid. I think by saying that he's leaving, he doesn't leave anything to speculation, and people can just focus on the games and be more proactive in terms of like, let's focus on what happens in this match, the next one, so on and so forth. So day by day. And I agree. It's difficult to do that. So kudos to him, because he's showing he's a man of his word in a way. And I think we just have to be eternally grateful for whatever he's doing here in Barcelona during this period, because he's doing the best for the club. I think at the end of the day, by him sacrificing himself, he's saving the club in a way.
You nailed it. That was my exact thought. Is that he is doing he's playing the long game. This is 3D chess, as they say, right? He's not thinking about himself and his managerial legacy. He's saying, I'm gonna sacrifice myself and my time here. That has actually been incredibly stressful for the next guy, because it happened to Pep, it happened to me, it's happened to every manager that has worn the badge and then's been managing on the sidelines. It's a next level type of pressure that you see at Barcelona. So I think you're dead on. It's a sacrifice for the next guy. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
that he'll be here next year. But I think you're right. He can't crack now. He can't show any sign of changing his mind,
that's a very well said point, that obviously he wouldn't want the media to give another conversation to hold Barcelona in a negative light, because how narratives work in nowadays of internet. One match here, one match there, and people change their entire perspective of a coach, a team, a player. Like right now, the players who are getting so much appreciation, they are teenagers. Everybody are labeling them as generational. Obviously, they are players, and every player has one or two bad days. The day that bad day comes, everybody is going to label them as frauds, overrated. That's how things work in nowadays. So I think he's doing a great job in trying to avoid those kind of conversations.
Yeah, amen to that. All right, so getting into the PSG content specifically then. Prior to leg one, I think Buga and Pablo both said 2-2 draw going in, I think. And then I said, I forget what my prediction was actually. Did I say 2-1 Barca or something like that? I don't know. We were both thinking it would.
You said 2-2. Pablo said, I think, also 2-2, something like that. And I said that we would lose the first leg.
Okay. All right. So I know we were all like in the ballpark around like a 2-2 scoreline. But none of us boldly predicted that Barcelona were going to go in, score 3, and come out ahead at the end of that 90 minutes. So, Marka, tell us, what were you thinking going into that match, and how are you feeling now post leg 1 versus PSG?
Oh, going into the match, I was like prepared for everything, to be honest. But my expectations were that I would take a very slight defeat as well. Like if it was just a 1-goal defeat, I'd take that.
Yeah.
Because Barcelona obviously playing away in European competitions hasn't been the best combinations over the years. So I was like, okay, but still my expectations were that I expect Barcelona to give a tough fight, and my predictions were a draw as well. That is what I was hoping going into the game, because obviously we have seen Xavi, like one thing about Xavi that we have seen is that he can kind of make the games go into a very low scoring setup, where even if he's winning those matches 1-0, but he's kind of frustrating the opponent, frustrating the viewers as well at times. But still, that he knows how to keep the game. He knows how to keep the game low scoring for his own benefit. So I expected Barcelona to have kind of a similar approach in that game, but I would definitely say that he surprised me with, the amount of intensity I saw with Barcelona, especially Rafinha making those attacking runs and everything that was showcasing on the pitch. Definitely a lot of intent by Barcelona, and it showed mentality. Like I genuinely believe this over the years, that Barcelona's biggest problem was not having the right players to do good in Europe, but actually the right mentality. Mentality is such an important point. Like if I just take example of another club, you see Liverpool, like they were having such a good form. They lost to Manchester United. They had one bad game, and ever since then they're not just consecutively lost a lot of matches, dropped a lot of points. They lost 2 games at Anfield as well. So it just takes one bad game and your mentality can be affected so much. So I think Barcelona, over the course of those so many comebacks that happened to us back in the days, I think that left a mark on the players who were in the squad. And now finally, when I saw Barcelona playing such good football against PSG, they were not afraid. They went 2-1 down in the beginning of the second half, and that's when the PTSD hits you, that oh my god, it has begun again. We're gonna concede so many more goals. But then they were able to collect themselves. They didn't really lose their nerves. They not just scored an equalizer, they scored the winner as well, and then they were able to manage the game in that aspect. So that for me was something I've seen from Barcelona for a long, long time, because PSG is not an easy opponent. PSG is a like, when you compare in comparison to Barcelona, the coach they have, the players they have got Kylian Mbappe, which, with all due respect, if he was kept silent in the first leg, doesn't mean necessarily that we'd be able to do it in the second leg as well. He's still the best player in the world, Kylian Mbappe. Respect where it's due. So, considering all factors, Barcelona for me dropped an absolute 10 on 10 performance, man. I can't ask more from the team. Like, what more can I ask from the team?
Yeah. Love it. Booga, how you feeling about it post first leg now?
No, I agree with Marco. I think that 100%. I'm very excited to see how Barcelona can kind of sort of collect themselves after going 2-1 down. For me, exactly after Dembele's goal, after Vitinha's goal, I was like, dude, this is the same. This is like, it's like literally, I felt the same way I felt in Roma. I felt the same way I felt in Liverpool. I felt the same way when Mbappe scored 3 at the Camp Nou. I felt the same in the final of the Supercopa against Real Madrid this season. It just felt that way. But seeing this team not only get back into it, I think I was really excited to see that, but also I'm always a bit, skeptical with things like this. And I do think that this season we're being a little bit lucky, more lucky than we normally are, if you know what I mean. Like, we are creating our luck and being better. That chance from Dembele on the post was like, dude, if that went in, that was game set and done.
I don't know. No, I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about Dembele getting a second.
Then the ball from Pedri over to Rafinha. That's not like 100%, but what I mean is like, that's a moment of brilliance and things like that. We're very lucky to have a sort of player like that in our team, because if Pedri wasn't fit, that wouldn't have happened, right? So I'm just very excited to see how this team is creating his own luck, because I'm also a true believer that if you're doing things right, luck is going to come your way, if you know what I mean. Like you have to have that mentality, and I think that Barcelona showed it today, and it's just excited. Like the goal from Christensen, 2 goals from Rafinha, players that you won't think they are the game changers, the ones that are going to take the mantle for Barcelona. And I feel that this team, when I looked at PSG, when I looked at Barcelona, I was just like, Barcelona are way more of a team. They're way more of a team than what PSG are. And even though we lose, we win, whatever, I'm just happy to see that Xavi has managed to create something like that. And I'm just very excited to see how we are able to compete again in the Champions League. Like bring on the teams, because now I'm a little bit more confident in the sense that this team is it's smart. It's not only just emotion. Before, it was always about emotion, and Barcelona this time around are not that emotional from what I see.
Yeah, this was a character defining match for Barcelona. A very young team. We talked about the lack of experience at competing at this level on such a big stage. going up against Kylian Mbappe, right? Big names on that squad, and they stepped up. They didn't get overwhelmed by the situation, even when things went wrong, right? Barcelona were under a lot of pressure. How many matches, right? You can count on one hand the number of matches where Barcelona are outpossessed by their opponent. PSG, 59% possession, 567 passes compared to Barcelona's 41% with 395 passes. That is rare. So Barcelona not only coming back in this one away from home, but doing it with less possession, doing it without being able to be the dominant team like they're used to being against some of their other opponents. So finding a way to win. Barcelona scoring on a corner kick. I think we score like 3 a year off of corner kicks. So for this to happen was just the chef's kiss. Mark, you said it, 10 out of 10, right? That is the cherry on top.
We almost
Could
scored
not ask
two
for
from
more
the
from
corner,
Barcelona.
right? We almost scored two from. We scored yet another one from the corner that was like a goal line clearance from Nuno Mendes, right? Was that from a corner or was that from? I think that was from a set piece, wasn't it? Like the Nuno Mendes goal line clearance in the very first half of the match. Was that from the corner?
I'm trying to think. Buga, do you remember? If it was awesome. Either way, a set piece or a corner, right?
Yeah.
Like that has been such a missed opportunity for Barcelona over the years. There was a small window there. I think it was sometime last year where it was, I want to say maybe Dembele and Rafinha would do a combo where one of them would take the corner, the other would come short.
Yep.
And we had a nice little build up from the corner there. There was a nice little window where we had something going. Other than that, just wasted opportunity. So for Barca to get it off of the corner was validating. It was a spark that I didn't know that we needed. And I think, I don't want to say team of destiny, but maybe team of destiny. I don't know. Are we getting too hyped?
Did you guys see the thing of someone used AI to predict the Champions League winner all the way to
I
like
did see
2000 and
that.
I don't know. But Barcelona
Yeah,
were
when did
the
they
winners.
do that though?
I don't know, but Barcelona were the winners for 2024.
I know.
Hey,
I know.
if like it started from back when Real Madrid won it, and if it was done before that, it has been pretty accurate for 2 years. And I think that's a picture we can be happy about. Manchester United winning it next year, I am not sure if they're even going to qualify though.
Yeah,
But,
I don't know about that. Yeah, that's
that's a funny
that's
one.
hilarious. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's play with that a little bit for a second, Marka. If Barcelona are gonna win Champions League, what does that road look like? Who do we play in the semifinal, and who do we play in the final?
I think for Barcelona to beat, I mean, Atletico Madrid are the most probable opponents in the semi-finals. Like, as things stand, and as they performed against Dortmund in the very first leg, they were absolutely perfect in the very first half. And in the beginning of the first half, they were dominating Dortmund, like when they scored those 2 goals in the first half itself, if I'm not wrong. But they were absolutely incredible in that game.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if I talk about the final, when you look at the teams on the other end, see that I have a personal vendetta against one of those teams, but and that is why I want that team to be in the final. I'll just straight away get to the point. I don't know why I want Barcelona to face Bayern Munich in the final.
Let's go! Let's go!
No, see that's just my personal mentality.
Yeah.
That just means, in order to be the best, you need to beat the best. Okay, but right now, like obviously, Manchester City and Real Madrid are the 2 best teams in terms of probability of making into the final. Like these 2, if you put down in terms of probability to win the Champions League, the top 2 teams are going to be Manchester City and Real Madrid. Those are the 2 teams. But if eventually, the thing is that Barcelona and Bayern Munich, for the recent history they've had in this competition, I think it is the biggest mental block that the club has faced in recent years, especially in this competition. So if we are able to somehow overcome that, if we are able to beat a club like Bayern Munich, if they make it to the final, even if we beat any team in the final, like the 4 clubs, Arsenal are top notch this year. Real Madrid are Real Madrid. I don't think we have to say anything more about that. Manchester City is once again the best team in the world. with Pep Guardiola. Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich. So if you beat any team, that's a big feat in itself. But for me as a fan personally, I've seen my club suffer so much to this one club, Bayern Munich. I think if the team is able to beat them, if that is able to happen in the UEFA Champions League final in itself, I think that's the club reaching a next level of mentality in itself. The team, the players, the belief, the fans. That's going to mean a lot. That's going to mean a lot. So my personal, as I said, that's just me as a fan and my thinking. But I'd take defeating anybody, man. If you're winning the Champions League, I don't care. If you're given like if you don't have to play anybody and we win, I'll take it, bro.
That's hilarious. Buga, if Barcelona play Bayern Munich in the Champions League final and Barcelona beat Bayern Munich in that final, does it finally silence the 8-2 comments that we consistently see?
I mean, 100%. Yeah, I don't know. I personally don't think it does. Like if I was like a fan from the other side, I would still say it. Like you're losing 8-2. That's nothing. That's nothing that won't change.
That would be the first 10 comments.
That's in the history books, man. That's in the
history books. That's like Germany 7-1 Brazil and stuff like that. Like that's just part of the game. Every club has that thing, so it's like not a problem. And I have no problem with it. What I wanted to say is that I think that for Barcelona, I don't know. I there's just something about me that I just look at the final and I can still not envision my club winning it. You know what I mean? Like,
Buga, I'm going to need you to go ahead and envision that happening. I'm going to need you on board.
But you know what I mean? I mean, like, for me, like I said, like I never envisioned us winning or beating PSG like away from home. Like I didn't see it. Like there was no way for me to imagine that because we haven't seen that in a while. And for me, that's the same thing. I haven't seen my team do something of a feat like that. And I think that's the best compliment I can give to Barcelona if they reach the final. Because I think that they deserve it and I want to be surprised. Like some days I was surprised with the very first time that I saw Barcelona, you know? And I think that's what hopefully carries us forward, you know?
Yeah. Is there someone, Buga, that you would prefer to see out of Bayern, Arsenal, Man City, Real Madrid? Is there somebody that just storyline wise that you would prefer to face in a final?
I said my final was going to be Barca Arsenal, so I think I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah. Each one of those outcomes has a cool narrative. Bayern, you have the 8-2 redemption. Arsenal, you have Xavi versus Arteta. Man City, you have Xavi versus Pep, and then Real Madrid, it's El Clasico for a Champions League final. Get out of here. So however it shakes out.
I'll be honest, I don't want Barcelona to face Real Madrid in the final.
Neither do I.
That for me,
it's a little secret. We're to clip this out, but I don't want to face them either.
If you lose that,
that's the thing. Yeah,
that's
true. Yeah.
I will never be the same again. Like for the rest of my life, I won't never be the same. I won't be able to relax.
If like that's actually very true. Like even if you ask if anybody asked me that of the 4 opponents, which is the one, if you put it down in order in who you want to face in the final, I'll keep Real Madrid last because respect where it's due. Champions League, they have shown what they are like in Champions League.
Yeah, dude.
But the thing is, if you win El Clasico in the Champions League final, you are gonna live the best life for the next 1 year. But if you lose
only 1 year, you're gonna live your life for the rest of your life.
For real, man, for real. But the other side, if you lose it, oh my god, man, I'm so not prepared for that. So that is why I want to avoid it, man. I'll take anything.
I know.
Is that we know? We also know that if Real Madrid loses it, they're not gonna make a big deal out of it. But if Barcelona loses it, they're gonna make such a big deal out of it. That's the problem. When in reality, it should be the other way around.
Because if they lose, they're gonna be like, "Oh, we still have 14. We still have 14. Exactly. Congratulations."
That's what it is. That's what it is. Like
if they win their 15th against us, it's like they just moved 3 times above us. Man, come on.
No, you're right. If it does come down to a Barcelona versus Real Madrid Champions League final, Barcelona have a lot more to lose than Real Madrid. Like Barcelona can at best, in terms of just the comparison and the narratives and the shit talk, be level, right? But we can't, by beating Madrid, surpass Madrid because of the history, because of the 14 titles that Real Madrid have. But we can definitely lose and lose big. Oh, that's tough. That is tough.
We'll take Bayern.
personally-
We'll take Bayern, man. Come on.
We'll take Bayern. Yeah, we'll take
We'll
Bayern
take
for
Bayern.
sure. I think Bayern would be a fun narrative. If I'm ranking who I want to see Barcelona face, I would say Man City, almost because as a Barcelona fan, that's almost a win-win, right? If Xavi loses to Pep, as long as it's not like a 5-0 or something like that. If Xavi loses to Pep in the final, is anybody really that upset? It's like a missed opportunity, sure, but Marco, you would be?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't take Man City. Like, they're such a good team. I'm gonna put Arsenal. I'm gonna put Bayern. I'm gonna put City. I'm gonna put Real Madrid.
But look at it this way: if you were gonna lose the final, right? Let's say that the future is Barcelona make it to the final and lose. Who would you rather lose to?
Oh yeah,
out of these clubs,
point. That's a good way.
If I'm gonna lose, I'd rather lose to Man City.
That's a good way to put it, man. Yeah, now I agree with you. Now I agree with you. That's a good point.
Yeah, right on. But
so
okay,
if you have to put it in the way of who would you like to beat in the final, I don't want to face Madrid. See, putting all things aside, I don't want to put Madrid. I'm not
gonna take that risk.
Yeah, I don't want to take that risk. But of the remaining clubs, I would like to keep like Bayern, Man City, and Arsenal. And if we have to, considering all possibilities, I'll agree with you, man. If we have to lose the final to one team, I'd rather lose it to Man City.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad I could sell you guys on that idea, but we don't have to worry about it. We're going to win the final, so no big deal. We can
let's
wipe
first,
that away.
Let's first reach the semifinals, man.
Yes,
exactly.
That's what I was going to say next.
So
let's rein this back in. Everybody right now is screaming at whatever device they're listening to this on. Like, guys, we have so many matches before the final.
Shut up.
Blah, blah, blah. We know. We hear you. We hear you. We hear you.
We're fans, man.
Let's rein it back in.
We just go with the flow at times. We are not really able to hold ourselves.
Can you blame us? I mean, with the momentum that Barcelona have right now, with everything that we've had going on for the last couple of months.
Let's beat PSG at the Montjuic.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Let's talk about that game. Let's move forward.
Let's reel it in. Let's talk PSG, Barcelona at the Montjuic. Barcelona got the 3-2 lead on aggregate going into this one. Let's talk Barcelona lineup. Christensen suspended, Roberto suspended. I like to build it from the back because I think it gets a little bit more complicated as we get towards the attack there. So obviously, Ter Stegen in goal, right? Is anybody going to put their entire reputation on the line and say anything different?
No.
Okay. Ter Stegen in goal. Marka, am I assuming we're going with a back four?
Yeah, we're going for the back four. We're not making any big tactical changes. I'm pretty sure about that.
Okay. Good. Marka, who's your back four then?
I'd go with Koundé, Araujo, Pau Kubasi, and then on the left back, I'll go with Cancelo. I wouldn't like to make much changes in that because that is the back line that was able to keep hold of. It's as the proverb goes, why fix something that is not broken? So I would just like to make a few input changes. Like if I was Xavi, I would just tell what to do better in the second leg, but I wouldn't make major changes. Because that's, in my opinion, right now seems very unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, we're gonna circle back to those tactical changes because once we do the lineup, I want to know maybe if there's going to be a different approach for either club in this one. So I'm glad you got some thoughts on that. Buga, I'm assuming you got the same back line as well.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm just gonna say that I think if I'm thinking about the first leg, there's one player particularly that I thought I wasn't particularly impressed with his performance, and for me that was Cancelo. I think defensively he was okay, keeping Dembele sound, but plenty of the attacks of Barcelona came through that side, like many of them. So I'm not quite sure what I would do to sort of remedy that, but I just wanted to put it out there because I do think that normally in a Champions League game we see Cancelo rise like he did against Porto, but I was a little bit worried about that side, and I just know that PSG are going to continue to exploit that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think what happens there, but I'm with you on that. Cancelo had a bit of a quiet game, a bit of a, I don't want to say a nervy game, but he definitely was out of position at times. I thought he was going to shut down Dembele. I thought that was going to be a non-factor, but not the case. Anyway, Puga, who you got in the midfield for this one? Because Roberto started and now he's suspended. So Pedri coming back in. What's your midfield, Buga?
I'm also gonna start just by saying that I want to give kudos and credit where it's due.
Buga could never just give a straight answer. He's like, hang
No,
on, there's
no.
a preamble to this.
Sergio Roberto, like it or not, was one of the biggest factors why the Mbappe wasn't.
Say it again. Say it again for the people in the back.
Wasn't as effective in the first leg because he was that extra man running. He was that extra man covering space, and he gave Koundé the ability to just simply, okay, I'm just gonna focus on Mbappe, and Sergio Roberto took care of whoever wanted to get Koundé out of that position. You want to stretch the defense, you want to get Koundé pulled out of his position. So Mbappe has space, but Roberto was always there. He was the stopgap. He was really good. So I'm actually a little bit nervous as to what are we going to do with that, because my midfield would be De Jong, Gundogan, and Pedri. And who can do that job? I'm a little bit actually worried about that, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to remedy that. Maybe Barcelona, thinking they're at home, they can go a little more attacking. But do you want to take the risk against Mbappe? I'm not too sure.
Marca, who's in your midfield, boss?
So I think he has pretty much summed it up. And the question that everybody is going to ask themselves is, because Christensen is just another big miss. He's a big miss.
Big miss, yeah.
I think of the available options, obviously the best answer that seems on paper is Gundogan, Frenkie de Jong, and Pedri. They're obviously the three best midfielders we have, obviously. But then when it comes to, covering up the spaces that are going to be left behind, I think one player on the bench that I think can do that job is going to be Fermin Lopez. But I don't see him. I don't see a place where we can put him in. Like, I don't know if you're going to put him in instead of Frenkie de Jong, instead of Pedri, instead of Gundogan. Gundogan is somebody that has to be on the pitch no matter what the other two midfielders are. Like, he's somebody who has to be there. So that's not a question. The choice is going to be between the other two midfielders. And I think obviously the midfielders are going to be Frenkie de Jong and Pedri because of the quality they bring in the side. But then the off-the-ball movement that you require, I think Frenkie de Jong and Pedri, their off-the-ball movements at times is very questionable. Both of them. I'm not going to highlight any one of them either. But at times, Frenkie de Jong comes into question. At times, Pedri's intensity of the ball comes into question. These are the two players. So I think we are going to miss definitely Christensen and Roberto in the second leg. But I think if Xavi wants to put in one extra midfielder, if he by any means goes for a 4 midfield setup, which I don't really think is going to be the choice, but we have seen Barcelona perceive matches with a 4 midfield setup previously. So if he goes for that and picks in Fermin Lopez, I would understand what his thought process is. I would understand that, okay, he wants somebody to be in the midfield doing those running thing, doing that cover up for those spaces that our fullbacks are going to be leaving. And that is why he has started Fermin Lopez. I would understand, but still, if you'd ask me what the midfield is going to be, right now I'm going to say João Felix, Frenkie de Jong, Gundogan, and Pedri.
Man, you had me going back and forth there, and now my wheels are really turning because I wasn't going to go with a 4 midfield, but I'm wondering if that actually might be the solution, because I'm with you on the concerns of who's going to pick up that slack around grinding out, really chasing down those loose balls, covering that space, because Roberto, really, it was a redemption match as far as I'm concerned. Like, I was sitting there going, okay, maybe we do give him a 1-year contract and let him play in the midfield where he should have been all this time. Anyway, I digress. Gundogan, yes. Frenkie, yes. And then for me, it's a question of, if you start Fermin, he could get overwhelmed by the situation and you'd have to make a sub earlier than you wanted to, and that could throw us off tactically. Pedri isn't going to go 90 minutes, so at some point he's got to come off, right? So I think that's what's going to prevent me from going 4 in the midfield, because if you have Pedri and Fermin both starting, who do you bring off the bench?
Brilliant.
Right?
Point.
So here's my curveball maybe that we could see, because I was reading some of the comments from Xavi. He's expecting a war, right? So who's going to go to war for Barca. I'm going to go Frankie. I'm going to go Gundo. I'm going to go Pedri. But then I'm going to hit you with my front three because I'm going Lewandowski, Rafinha, and João Felix. And I didn't think I was going to say that. But Lamine Yamal is not starting for me on Tuesday.
I also, for me, Lamine Yamal is not starting on Tuesday.
Oh, shit. I thought this was going to be controversial. All right,
No,
Marco, what do you think? Well, because he's amazing on the ball, and he can open things up for Barcelona. I want to make sure that he's not asked to do too much defensively to where he has to wear himself out and he can't have that impact on the offensive end. I would rather have João Felix and Rafinha in there for the 60 minutes grinding it out, and then Lamine comes on for the final 30 when things are open and he can just fly. I'd rather see that, but it is a question of, can we get to that point in the match and still be in control, or still be in a point where Lamine can come on and make that difference?
I'm gonna throw you two curveballs, because for me, Lamine Yamal is not starting, and I think this would be perfect match to put Rafinha on the right hand side and have him. We've seen how much that guy literally works his ass off for this team. Like Rafinha, the balls he run, the way that he beat in plenty of occasions Marquinhos to the ball, or any player by that means in their defense. I was just really surprised with his work ethic. Koundé is not going to push that further up. I think that Nuno Mendes on the left-hand side, who's going to play 100% for them, maybe he can exploit that space. He can also stay on the left because Hakimi is potentially going to play more in this game as well. But I just feel that...
Hakimi.
Yeah, I just feel that Rafinha working his ass off there, and João Felix, the problem with João Felix is that I do not think he's going to give you anywhere similar level of energy to someone like Rafinha. But I do think that someone like Ferran Torres can give you that. My other curve...
You're calling in the shark.
I'm calling in the shark, baby.
Call it in the shark.
If the shark doesn't come, like it or not... What? I have another curve.
If the shark doesn't come. Sometimes you call a shark, it doesn't come, it happens.
Doesn't come.
Sharks are
If it
dogs,
doesn't
you know
come-
what I mean?
If it doesn't come, I think this is actually a good game for someone like
Don't say it.
Romeo.
Don't. Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say
Who did he
Vitor
say?
Roque.
Who did he say?
He said Romeo.
Oh, come on.
Why do I say it? Why do I say this? Because if you literally just give him... The problem is that this won't happen. But if Xavi, if he literally just has the role to cover up the space like what Roberto does, that's amazing. Because that's what he's better at doing. I don't want him to get the ball. Like, literally, for instance, Marca, there's a thing where I always bring Peru somehow into the podcast. And in Peru, we have a player called Tapia, who's like plays for Celta Vigo. And he is like Romeo. He just blocks space. But what he does in Peru so well when we reach the World Cup and stuff like that, he just grabbed the ball, recovered it, and passed it to somebody like sideways, to someone who actually knows what he's doing. Like, the passes were shit, you know? But like, that's what I envisioned with someone to do. I don't think that Barcelona we're going to play the game of the long ball to Lewandowski like always. I'm just saying, if you don't want to put Ferran Torres, that will be my other solution.
Okay, Marca, bring us back to reality. Who's your front three?
So I'll tell you what, I have a very strong opinion about Oriol Romeu. Okay, though I agree with what you said, that he might be a very makeshift option for that, but then I think that Oriol Romeu is going to be somebody that is going to be a huge step back in quality. I don't think that when you talk about Barcelona and PSG, though I do agree with what his basic thinking is, that we might need somebody to break the play, even if he's making those sideward passes, which he does. But then I don't want him to be caught off ball. I don't want that he's pressed too hard and then he loses the ball, because then he won't be able to cover back as well. But coming back to the front three part, see, now, Rafinha and Lewandowski are undisputed. Goes without saying. Okay, both of those players. The question comes down to the third player. For me, I tell you why I would still pick Lamine Yamal. Okay, now for me, the reason for that was going to be, see, if Barcelona goes for a front three, and they would definitely want PSG. PSG are going to be coming into the match with a very attacking approach. Hakimi is going to be back. Nuno Mendes is going to be back. Putting in Lamine Yamal and Rafinha across the wings kind of ensures a mental headache to both Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. I think if Barcelona by any means have to go on a counter, have to put on like Rafinha, he has got the pace. He is a threat. He's the biggest attacking threat that Barcelona has. So he's there without a doubt. He's gonna do defensive cover up as well. He's gonna do his trickery with the ball. Everything is sorted in that aspect. The thing with Lamine Yamal is that everybody knows that if he has the ball with him, there is a very high probability you are going to lose your ground duel. You can't give him space. You can't give him time. And the thing with Joao Felix that comes into question in these type of situation is that you just can't predict that how he's going to play in that match.
Yeah.
That's the only fault.
Yeah.
You just can't predict. See, with Lamine Yamal, you just know. Like, if you're Barcelona, you know what Lamine Yamal is going to give you. He's going to give you 8 out of 10. On his worst days, he's going to give you 7 out of 10. On his best days, he can give you 10 out of 10. But with Joao Felix, what comes into question is, it might be his day, 10 out of 10. It might not be his day, 3 out of 10. He's not even in the game. You like 15 minutes into the game, you'd realize Joao Felix is on the pitch, but you can't see him. Like, that is what happens at times. So I think that inconsistency probably might be the reason why he chooses to go for Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. Okay, because I think they ensure a certain level of performance. Though Joao Felix played phenomenal in the last match, he was the reason we won. He had one of his best games for Barcelona. He has played good against good opponents like Atletico Madrid as well. We have seen time in, time out. But then, consistency, obviously, I think that has been one of Joao Felix's biggest critical points across clubs. Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, everywhere. People have just asked that why isn't he consistent? That kind of makes me a bit worried.
Okay, so you're going Rafinha, Lewandowski, Lamine for your front three.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you made some good points. Go ahead, Buga.
I think that Marka makes a very good point. I haven't seen it like that way. Sometimes we tend to, particularly I tend to see things like, what can I do to stop the enemy team? The enemy team, like it's war. But
Xavi said it's gonna be.
Yeah. But sometimes it's better what Marka is thinking, the thought process of like, what can I do with my tools so that they have to sort of stop me? That's another way of looking at things. And if you have Lamine Yamal, you have Rafinha, Hakimi, and Nuno Mendes have to be much more aware whenever they push forward. They cannot be as free-flowing as before. In contrast to if you have Romeo, in contrast you have someone like Ferran Torres, they're going to be like, we're going to attack. That's our game plan. We're going to attack. And that's where I talked before about you create your own luck. If Barcelona sort of sit back, that's what's going to happen. Like, you don't never want to sit back to a team like a Manchester City, like any team, like teams of this level. I don't think it really works. So I do agree. I think Marka makes a good point. I think that maybe that's what Xavi is going to be doing. And another thing is that when we talk about Joao Felix and how he can predict, I think that he's much more useful in the second half of a game when you have to keep the ball. Like, if we're going to play against Manchester City, I would prefer having a Joao Felix in the team rather than a Maverick. Like the best way to explain this is that you see the games against Real Madrid, Pep Guardiola doesn't go with Doku. He goes with Grealish, even though Grealish hasn't played like the last 3 games, because Grealish doesn't lose the ball. Like, you have him on the wing. He may not beat the man, but he won't lose the ball. And I think Joao Felix, in a way, he's sort of that player as well. He doesn't really tend to lose the balls that much. He's not that amazing when it comes to the work rate of beating a man, but he won't lose the ball. I think that's another positive to keep in mind. So I think that we agree. I think at the end of the day, I've been convinced. Marka, I'm going with your lineup.
Oh, thank you, man.
Oh, boy. All right. I think I'm on board too. Because I like the idea of having Felix off the bench, having Fermin off the bench, having
Ferran Torres on
the last 10 minutes, Ferran Torres off the bench, absolutely. In the last 10 minutes, have Romeu come in and just in a very ugly way shut things down
If
in
needed.
the midfield?
If needed.
If needed.
If needed.
Marco was trying so hard to say something positive about Romeu. That was hilarious.
Dude, I wouldn't. I honestly, like, in the last 10 minutes, I wouldn't. That would give me more anxiety.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You just went on this whole campaign
know,
to get
yeah.
Romeu some playing time, and
No,
then you're
you're
like, oh
taking
no.
it
No. Because there's more, like 90 minutes, there's more chance to like get back from a mistake. In 10 minutes, there's no chance to get back.
Okay, I get what you're saying. You got to give him time for his ups and downs to balance out.
Exactly. I just gotta say that I think that if imagine like we could get Joao Cancelo in that midfield as well, I think that would be good as well. Like if we in the way that the team shapes up to be, if we can have Joao Cancelo to be an extra man in that midfield, I think that's how we can dominate. Because sometimes we lost the midfield battle to PSG. We directly jumped to Lewandowski, and I think that in this game we should keep the ball more.
There's no way this will happen. I'm prefacing there's no way this will happen. But we did just get Marcus Alonso back and available. Marcus Alonso could play left back and have Cancelo push forward somewhere. There's no way that's going to happen. But if you wanted to push Joao Cancelo into the midfield somewhere,
I wouldn't say that there is no way. I'd still give that a better probability. I would still give that a better probability than
Romeu.
yeah,
I'd still give that a better probability.
Oriol Romeu, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Yeah, friend of the pod. Absolutely.
The thing with Marcus Alonso is that he has got a certain ability on the ball of making those crosses, which Xavi certainly likes. Like I've seen this.
Yeah.
Xavi has a likeness for Marcus Alonso because of his crossing ability. So,
and with Christensen unavailable, you never know. He could be used as a left center back. He could be used as a left wing back. You never know. We could see Alonso play a part in this, actually.
Let's just hope things go very positive, that we don't really have to put either of Romeo or Marcus Alonso.
Yeah. It's not a good sign if we have to use Romeo or Alonso. So fingers crossed on that. Okay, so then let's get to some predictions then. Again, Barcelona 3-2 aggregate. How does this match end? Marco, I'm going to you first.
Oh, wait, let's go to Buga first, please.
Well played. Guess honor. Go ahead, Buga.
I think this ends up being a draw. I think this could be like a 2-2 draw. I think the game won't be relaxed for Barcelona. I don't think that. I think that if there's... I don't think any game in the Champions League might be like Barcelona, like for Barcelona to be relaxed as is. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Maybe I can see certainly maybe PSG scoring first or and getting our nerves up, but then we get back. I really do think that Montjuic is going to be a cauldron. Like it's really going to be like a place where they're going to feel intimidated, and I feel that can really carry us forward in this tie. So I'm going to say that 2-2 or even 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2.
All right, I'm gonna go 1-1 at the end of 90 minutes. I'm gonna say Barcelona score first, somewhere in the opening 25 minutes. I'm gonna say it's Rafinha again gets the goal. PSG level it after a ton of pressure. Like Barcelona are under pressure, just getting press. They level it somewhere in like the 76th minute, and it's Mbappe. But then we hold on. 1-1 draw. Barcelona go through.
So yeah, I would give prediction. I actually believe that PSG is the team that is going to be scoring first. Okay. But that's something that I want genuinely to be avoided, like if possible. So I'm gonna give two predictions. Okay. If PSG score first, the game goes on to be a draw, 2-2. If Barcelona score first, we're winning the game 3-1.
Oh, let's go. Okay, give me a percentage. Which the 2-2 draw or the 3-1 win, which one would you lean towards? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? Like, where are you at percentage-wise?
I don't know why it's one of my nightmares, but I can see Mbappe scoring in the very first few minutes. I don't want that to happen, but I can see that. But so I'm gonna just say it's 51-49, 51 to a 2-2 draw. But yeah, if Barcelona score first, no matter at which minute, I'm pretty sure they're gonna score more. They're not gonna stop.
Okay. All right. Oh my gosh, Buga, were you gonna say something?
No, forget it. I was as you know, I had the Arsenal game in the background, and Aston Villa just scored against them. So
Whoa! Really?
Liverpool
1-0?
and Arsenal both lost.
Oh my
Both are
gosh,
losing.
dude.
Leverkusen is about to win the Bundesliga as well. 4-0, they're beating Werder Bremen.
Wow.
So scenes everywhere. Let's hope we get scenes on Tuesday as well.
Oh my god.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. We talked lineups. We talked predictions. Anything else we got to cover? Oh. We didn't get to this yet. Marka, I'm gonna let you go on this question. How is Dembele going to be received at the Montjuic playing against Barcelona now that he has scored and celebrated against Barcelona? How is Dembele going to be received now in the second leg?
See, I have a very strong opinion on that one. Okay, see, I'll just put the thing out there that Dembele was somebody that I used to love as a player. Okay, I think that he was one of the most talented players when he was at Barcelona. His ability as a young player, I have been following him since his Dortmund days, and I was absolutely in love with him back then as well. I thought that he was the perfect signing for Barcelona. That was one of the signings that I thought made sense to me because he was so talented. But dude, he has done the most atrocious thing you can imagine. I mean, I don't want people say that he's the same as Figo, but you know what the difference is? That Figo was the best player in the world. Figo was already a legend. He was a Ballon d'Or winner. Dembele has done nothing in his career in that aspect. Okay, so I hope he doesn't do anything against Barcelona to prove me wrong. But yeah, so far he has done nothing. And on top of it, I would say that let's just forget Barcelona. Let's just forget Barcelona fan base. I think he owed some respect to Xavi. I think Xavi was a manager that showed so much belief in him, so much respect in him, in his ability, that even his PSG bought him. PSG sort of have developed him into a player who hasn't got injured so far. But I think all this was the base for all this was prepared by Xavi himself. That one player. He protected him from fans, from media. Everybody was against Dembele, but Xavi, he took Dembele's side. So for me, I think the biggest betrayal he has done isn't to fans, isn't to the team. It is to the manager, because he defended him at the point he was at his lowest in his career. So I think I think he should be definitely given a very, very loud reception, that he has to clear his ears as well. I would love to see that. And I just hope he doesn't score again against Barcelona, man. Especially not at
Amen to
Barcelona's home. Especially.
Yeah.
My blood will boil.
Amen to that, Marka. Hopefully it does not happen. Hopefully we get maybe an easy win for Barcelona where we don't have to, have semi-heart attacks, where we don't suffer for 90 minutes, maybe beyond. So
Aston Villa
we'll see.
Scored second. Oh my god.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I saw you.
Oh, you're saying 2-0. Okay.
And that's when I opened the score letter. I was like, dude, oh my god.
That's amazing.
Man City winning the
big
Premier
things
League
happening in the
again.
world of football. Premier League is so much fun, dude. I mean, Barcelona obviously is my club, but Premier League, if I had to pick one league to watch, that's my league, top to bottom. It's good times. It's good football.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We got Tuesday coming up. Second leg. We'll see what happens. Again, let us know in the comments. We want to get your predictions. If you're Xavi, how are you lining up Barcelona going into this second leg? What do you think for the match outcome? Give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions. Let us know your questions. And then come back next week, folks. We'll have another episode for you. Marco, one more time, where can people find you?
People can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter as well. My name goes by MARKARONI, and it was a pleasure being here. I hope I can be here soon.
Absolutely, Marco. We will get you back here. It won't be 2 or 3 years like we did this past gap. We'll make it happen a lot faster than that. Yeah. We'll get you on here on a regular basis. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking some time to hang out with us and chat. Shout out to Pablo. We missed you, but we'll catch you next week. We'll be back with the regular crew. Marco, one more time, thank you so much. Listeners, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.